There was no rules as to what it was going to look like. There was no registration. There's no online community because I want people to come and meet physically, shake each other's hand, look each other in the eye, have a chat or not. And it's been great. I thought, well, perhaps it's time Hard Hat Mentor, in a charitable arm, started helping these people. And I'm calling it Rocking the Downturn. Rock the Downturn.
Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Beers with a Miner podcast. Today is another happy hour episode with Drewie, who is also my sister. She is the Hard Hat Mentor and first came on the podcast in episode 8. My name is Mad Mumsy and I've been driving the huge dump trucks in Australian open cut mines for over 10 years now. I wish I had $1 for everyone who said to me, "How does a little thing like you drive those big trucks? You must be rich. Oh, how do I get a job doing that?" My mining friends are asked these questions all the time too. This is what started the Mad Mumsy journey to share stories and tips from living a mining lifestyle and to let others know what it's really like. Not everyone is cut out to be a miner, but why not? What does it take to thrive and survive in this industry? Now let's dig into the interview with Drewie, the Hard Hat Mentor, and my sister. Dig, get it? Mining. Oh, crack me up. So, welcome back to the Beers with a Miner podcast, Drewie, our very own Hard Hat Mentor, and my very own Blister.
Hi Blister. Hi, Mad Mumsy.
Hey, how you going? Blister being sister, of course.
Well, that's right. I'm really, really well. And yourself?
I'm great, thank you. I'm kicking back on a tropical North Queensland evening, having a Forex Gold and talking to you. And we're going to catch up because, of course, this is your second time on the podcast. Your first episode was number 8, where we met you and got introduced, and sadly, 1 hour of that conversation did not happen or did not get recorded. So we're going to go into a bit more of that in this episode about what you're up to, and a lot's been happening in your world, and I wanted to get you on and get you to share what's going on.
Thanks so much for having me back, Blister. Yeah, I guess it's probably fortuitous, perhaps, that last hour didn't happen. It obviously wasn't meant to be recorded for some particular reason. Perhaps it's because since then I've started my Women in Boots post series on my LinkedIn, and the Women in Boots is sort of part of Hard Hat Mentor's one arm. I've got 2 arms, and one arm is supporting...
Funny about that.
Yeah, supporting women in male-dominated environments. FIFO, of course, but not just FIFO, anybody who's in a male-dominated environment, because I've done that for a number of years, as we spoke about, and actually you initiated that whole thing. After that conversation, I thought, yeah, I guess I do know a little bit about that. And there was some interest generated, so I've started those posts, and a lot of what we spoke about, my journey, how it's got to where I am now, I've slowly started documenting that and sharing that with people in the intro, and then Women in Boots 1 and 2 and 3 is about to be released soon. And yeah, there's good feedback there. It's interesting, bearing my soul.
Bearing your soul. So you are bearing your soul of what it was like when you were way back then, when you first started in the mining industry. That's what's happening, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. I'm sort of just letting it all come out of my head however it likes, but it is coming pretty chronologically. So yes, it's going back to how it was, and in the intro I explained to them it's good for the ladies who are doing it now to know what evolved and how we got there, and sharing some stories on the way, good, bad, and indifferent, good, bad, and ugly, warts and all.
That's how we roll, hey, Blister?
Mm. I'm enjoying it. It's cathartic in a way.
I was going to ask you that. Are you finding any discoveries about yourself on that journey of writing? Because they say writing your life story, or at least starting to write parts of it, can be cathartic, as you say, big word for Mad Mumsy, but therapeutic maybe. Are you realising how far you've come about your journey and where you are now?
Yes, so much. You got bang now right on the head, and When I get to a certain stage, probably by number 5, I'll start comparing and reflecting on that exact where, what it means to be now, where I came from, and how that made me who I am, makes us all who we are, I guess. But it's also made me realise there's so much that happened, and there's so much that I could put into it, but you can't put too much in. So the other big news is I'm starting to write my book as well. So this is, I guess, a little practice for me for my writing skills and my story. So, yeah, a lot's changed, and for good reason. And some things remain the same. I'm finding some of the comments that are coming through, even from some of the young ones. Of course, the technology's changed, all the rules have changed, but the fundamental human side of things, funnily enough, is universal and remains. Or about the crews and how one crew could be night shift, day shift. You can almost be at war sometimes, sadly, about how you stick together when it's required, things like that. So, yeah, it feels a little narcissistic. I'm not really comfortable talking about myself so much, although it's all about me. But I don't really know how to tell them what was happening to me without it being about me. So I'm just evolving as I go, and I'll try and bring in more and more people into the story, I guess. And I promised them that number 3 is going to be more about some of that really surprising, scary, unbelievable stuff that went on, which is true. Plane crashes and near-death experiences and things like that. So, yeah.
Sounds like a great read. Where can people read that at the moment? Because they are basically like a blog post, that's right, at the moment?
Yes, on my profile on LinkedIn, you just, I guess, look at my posts. I've just begun Twitter, so I'm starting to put them on there as well. But, yeah, the LinkedIn at the moment, I am working on the websites under construction, so they'll be transferred over there in time. But at the moment, LinkedIn's the best place. And
I will have a link to your LinkedIn profile. Did you like that? That was a bit cool. The show notes for this episode, which will be madmumsy.com/beers25. Quarter of a century. Well, quarter of 100 anyway. 25 episodes. Your first episode was back in number 8. So you mentioned there Mates in Construction. Can you explain what's going on there?
Mates in Construction, of course, I'm a big fan of. They are, people may or may not have heard of them, but they are trying to help prevent suicide in construction. They also, Mates in Mining is just kicking off as well, which is really, really good news. It's not about, we're assuming people are going to commit suicide, so we want to try and stop that. They're aware of that, and the statistics are unbelievable. However, it's more about trying to get people to speak up way before it gets to that point. And I mustn't generalise and say you blokes, but mostly it's about the guys, because as I found out, I went to a session with the field guys in Mates in Construction with a company here, and did the introduction course, and it was truly amazing. The amount of hands that went up in the room about who's been touched by suicide, and the statistics that the facilitators gave us, it was numbing. It was very, very numbing. And they said flat out, they asked the room, well, what do we do different to the ladies? Why are our stats so bad? And they said, we talk all the time, like that. And we do. We tend to talk more often about our feelings and things. So it was really good. They're doing really good work, and yes, I've just been supporting them as much as I can. And they've been very helpful, letting me come along to some of their sessions. Actually, this week, I'm going to the next, because you go to the introduction and then you go to a connectors course. So I'll be doing that on Thursday, I believe, with the same construction group. So that'll be really interesting as well. They do such great work.
That's awesome, isn't it? There's so many people out there that are working hard and passionate about helping all of us, and that's Mates in Construction, but that still relates to mining as well.
Yes, well, Mates in Mining has just kicked off. The same company, the same organisation is now doing Mates in Mining. So there's Mates in Construction and Mates in Mining, so you should hear about it very soon.
Oh, right. We'll be sure to, I'll write that down, Mates in Mining, add that into the show notes if you can let me know where the links will be for that. Also, what I was thinking as you were talking about that is there's a lot of construction goes on mine sites.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, before a mine even starts, construction phase comes first.
It certainly does. And then expansions later on, you know, before the world turned on its axis a different way lately. I went out of operations years ago into construction, and yet it was never domestic construction. It was still on mines for the last 10 years. So. And
are you finding that the guys open up in these sort of situations?
Yeah, they do. It's not like it was only an introduction, but we filled out a lot of forms, and if they need further assistance, that's what the field officers do. They will contact them, and they did get quite a few numbers handed over apparently, which is good. And it started with I guess the first one was just about opening their minds and starting the conversation, and then those guys would talk about that later on between themselves and in small groups is usually how it goes, so I'm told. The next session, because they'll be more comfortable, I'm guessing they may open up a little more, but again, it's not so much about everybody lay all their problems on the table today. It's just about how can we help each other, what signs do we look for. So they're really giving them some tools and some training to understand that if you see someone whose behaviour has changed, don't be scared to ask them, as in like, are you okay? There's a lot more to it, but it's really good. And the feeling I got from the room is they definitely know it's needed, and they're glad that it's coming, and I believe that they will talk to each other a lot more even after one quick session. I really think it'll be a topic that they'll talk about afterwards.
Yeah, just with so many groups now bringing it up, out on site, in pre-start meetings, in meetups like this, it's really just the door is opening so much. And like you say, it's not about probably guts on the table, the perception of sitting in a circle of chairs and everyone saying how everything's gone to crap for them.
No.
Because that's, I'm sure, not what it's about. Like you say, it's more getting them to start to notice when things aren't going right with someone that they are close to, and to have a few thoughts and a few skills to think, oh, hang on a minute, now this might be what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Old mate's not right. Oh, hang on, what do I say? But they'll have a bit of an idea, or they'll know where they can go to get a bit more help if they need it.
Well, that's right. And when the guys, Shannon and Steve, they were so great, the way the rapport they had with the room, and they would, when they put up a huge list of the pressures we're all under every day, whether you're in construction or not. when it comes to finances and relationships and family and the list went on and on and on and on. And I defy anyone to say they're not feeling pressure at some point somewhere. And I guess perhaps at some people's points in their lives it all becomes a bit much and they need a bit of a helping hand, as we all do. I've been there myself very recently. So, yeah, I guess it's just about trying to reach out, getting them to reach out.
Reaching out you have been doing. I believe that I don't believe because I know damn well what you've been doing, that you've been helping people. Another stress is losing the jobs at the moment in the downturn, and over here anyway, because you're in WA for those that don't know, but this is obviously a national or worldwide the sort of things that we cover, emotions and all of those sort of things, and working away from home. You can be doing that in any industry.
Yes.
But at the moment with the mining downturn, there's a lot of people who are hurting, and over here it's labour hire has big something to answer for, because people can get a text message any minute and you just don't have a job anymore, and they don't have to tell you why. But I have ranted about that a few times, so I won't go into that now on your space. But I wanted to bring that in because I know that you're doing something that is different compared to what other people are doing to help those who are in between jobs, we call it. I like to call it. We're in between jobs.
Yeah.
Would you like to share what's going on there?
Yes, well, I have so many people calling me, and myself for a while. There's a bit of a lull, downturn, and there's some very talented people, very experienced, who just cannot seem to get a job again, get their foot back in the door after being their contracts have run out or their projects wound down or mothballed or put on the back burner. And it is worldwide, and it's every industry. Well, in our world, resources, it's oil and gas, and it's mining, and it's exploration, and it's all the services that support those are hurting too. All training companies, everybody you speak to, there's a lot of pain going around. It's one of those waves, and yes, this too shall pass. However, in the meantime, I was approached by so many, and also on social media, so many people doing it very hard and starting to lose faith in themselves. And lose their own self-belief because they just keep getting knocked back, and they're in financial stress. So I thought, well, perhaps it's time Heart Out Mentor, in a charitable arm, started helping these people, and so I'm calling it Rocking the Downturn. We're going to rock
I
the downturn.
love that.
Yeah.
Rock the downturn.
So, yes, and we're having our third. They'll probably tell me off when I see them on Wednesday. We have our next meet-up, and we're meeting at the moment around the Mandurah area because I live here and I've started it, so I have to drag my little butt all the way to Perth very often for things. So I thought we'll have one for the southwest people, and it's for FIFO people, or BIBO, DIDO, that's the same thing. And it's not for, actually, I think you said to me, I put on the first notice about it, families and friends are not well, but there was explanations around that. There's plenty of support for that. There's plenty of people looking out for FIFO families, and there's plenty of support for the families and the kids. But the workers, perhaps they might need a space where they can get away from their loved ones for a moment. They can get away from the kids, where they can come and speak to like-minded people who work FIFO, which means we get it. We get it. You can come and, God forbid, you might swear every now and again. You can come along, and there was no rules. There was no rules as to what it was going to look like. There was no registration. There's no online community, because I want people to come and meet physically, shake each other's hand, look each other in the eye, have a chat or not. And it's been great. It's been really, really good. The people who have come along, we just very casual said hello, and everybody bought things, which is funny. I took eggs, because we've got chooks now, and I'm getting 6 eggs a day, so I would take eggs. We have a lemon tree that just is so prolific, it's out of control. So I take a bucket of lemons, and someone else bought some outstanding cookies. Got together, and it was a little, for about 2 seconds, it was about a little uncomfortable, because none of us knew each other. And then it was, and we kept having to shh, and we better move, because we were laughing, and then we were swearing, and then we got serious, and it was amazing. People really just laid all their guts on the table, good, bad, and different. And it was really, really good. And everybody said they felt heaps better even after the first one. We gave each other challenges before we left, homework, if you like, as to what we talked about we would like to achieve before we come back next time, what we're going to work on ourselves or whatever our goals are. And I'm not going to break their trust by saying what any of those are, but in a broad term, it was about, are we doing the things, we've got time now, apparently, are we doing the things that we enjoy doing? What are they? And everybody sort of had a bit of a go at what they like to do, and then we said, well, are you doing that? No. Why? And it sort of went from there, you can imagine. And the great thing is, when we came back the next time, everybody said, yeah, it was really good. Went home, did this, did that, worked on a few things, and also, of course, swapping networking and stories and possible job opportunities and making friends as well. And having a space where we're not answerable to anybody, there's no judgment. We're all feeling, they're all feeling a little self-doubting. So it's really good. And I will let out this because they said I could. I am a bit of a happy dancer. I call it my happy dance. And so there's no reason, when there's no music, I'll just stop and break out. It's not like a big disco dance or anything. It's just a little bit of a little jig. And I challenged them all at the very first meet. I said, before you go today, I want to see your happy dance. And I tell you what, mate, I saw every single person's happy dance that very first day. And there's the looks we got down at the foreshore at Mandurah there. And one old mate got up and started nutbush city limits, the Madison.
Yeah.
And a person you would have picked in a million years would have done this, because he was all, no, I'm not going to be doing that. And next minute, all of us got lined up doing nutbush city limits, the Madison, to no music, just singing it on the foreshore. It was outstanding. Now, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to look every time, but it was just good to see. They were rocking the downturn.
That is rocking the downturn, doing the nut bush on the foreshore at Mandurah.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable.
It was hilarious.
Did you remember how to do it?
Oh, yes.
We've rocked it out plenty of times, sister.
Oh, how could you forget? How could you forget the Madison?
No.
That is really good. They certainly helped me. I lost it too. At my last meeting, I lost it. I had a bit of a look out. Didn't see that coming. Don't know what that was about either. We weren't even talking about anything, but yeah, it's a safe place. It was good. Not to say it's all about that, but we just walked on the beach and that, it's good. Met some really good people. Yeah, so next one's on Wednesday, and we're going down to the Dolphin Keys Marina there and go look at all the sexy boats. That'll be very nice.
Oh, what a great thing to be doing. And at first when you said, and as you mentioned at the start there, you said, sorry, but family are not welcome. And I brought that up in my episode with Kirsty, who does a lot of work with families. Mm-hmm. Kirsty O'Callaghan. I'll leave a link to that episode in the show notes. And I said, my sister's doing this thing and family aren't welcome. And she was a little bit taken aback at first. I said, but it's more, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, it's almost like it's your when you're not working, you miss that crew family, exactly. The crew bonding side of it. Yep. You all know what's going on.
Yep.
You've all worked together.
Yep. Exactly, mate, and that's what it is. And the family don't get that because they haven't experienced it. And like I said in the explanation, it's not that we don't love them, but if they want to go with their family to another group, there's plenty of them, and great, take them there. Just don't come to this one.
Yeah, just don't come to this one. That's right, because we are rocking the downturn.
Yeah, now it doesn't mean that one day we probably will meet up and have something where they can come take a day, But for now, yeah, so it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
And that's, I think, what was something that you noticed was missing for the people that are out of work. Yeah. And I'm like, you mentioned there some networking. So if you hear of a job, hang on a second.
You're right.
We'll edit that. Have a drink. Have a drink. I'm having a drink.
Have a drink. I'm having a Jameson whiskey, by the way. Thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah, it's tradition. Beers with the minor.
Yeah.
Oh,
you usually ask me, what are you drinking? So I'm drinking Jameson.
Jameson whiskey with what?
With lemonade, a dash of soda, and a slice of lemon, and heaps of ice.
Oh, that sounds good. Can you guess what I'm having?
Gold.
Yep. Forex Gold can.
A wild stab in the dark.
A wild stab in the dark. And tea will be ready soon. My daughter's out there. She's a little bit unhappy because I made her turn home and away down because we're talking. But, yeah, the sacrifices you have to make when Mum's on a podcast with her auntie. She can hack it, but I'll have a red wine when we have our dinner.
Okay, well, I've been, at the moment, just to totally off the subject for 2 seconds, I've just been making my own whiteboards out of paint. It's called dry erase paint. And I'm painting the inside of my massive pantry cupboards, and they're now a whiteboard. How cool is that?
Really? What is it called?
Dry? Look out, list lady. I'm going to have lists everywhere, every cupboard that you open.
What is it? Dry what?
Dry erase paint.
Oh, dry erase paint.
Yes, I went to a workshop and they said, no, go right on the wall. And they can't write on the wall. I said, yeah, right on the wall. And the whole wall was a whiteboard. And it looked like Rust-Oleum dry erase. Yep, writable, erasable finish. So there you go. So, anyway, I won't take up any more time, but I had too much, so I've just gone and done it all over the place. In places that I wasn't going to use it, but yeah, the things you do.
You'll have to make sure that you have some whiteboard markers everywhere, so you don't write on them in the wrong text, so you'd be in trouble.
Yes, and I've got plenty of those. So yes, sorry, what we're talking
about?
No,
that's how we roll. We digress. Well, I had a bit of a coughing fit. We had to stop and have a drink.
Yeah, so. But no, Rocking the Downturn's good. That's right. I just wanted to finish on that subject by saying that there's obviously some mentoring going on, / coaching as well. I won't say it's secret squirrel coaching, because one of my mentors said to me, you can't secretly coach them, Drew. They need to know they're being coached. I said, no, they don't. I said, yes, they do. So, yes, there's been some really good mind shifts, some accountabilities. There's been some really good coaching, I believe, going on. They've been coaching me too, calling me up every now and again. But no, I'm very, very happy with already the leaps and bounds that they've come in, and when they show up, even the language they use, and I'm not talking about French. But if I hear those ants coming in the automatic negative thoughts, just in the way they're explaining things, I just have to look at them now and they know, and they say, okay, so they will say it in a different manner to me because they know that, you know, and how's that working for you? So
yeah, they have to reframe.
They do have to reframe, you know. They don't have to, but they understand that it is important how they speak to themselves, and how they speak about themselves is just as important as everything else. So, yeah, it's working a treat. Now, I only have to do it once and they're good.
That's right, and the universe listens to how you speak to yourself and about yourself, and says, "Oh, hang on a minute, no, we don't. You don't want to do that," or you know. So I won't allow that to happen.
No.
But I won't go down a woo-woo rabbit hole talking to the hard hat mentor. So what else is going on?
Oh, well,
you know, if you're not doing enough.
You need a drum roll for this one. You sitting down, buddy?
Okay.
Well, you know
Hang on. I'll do a drum roll. Stop talking. Hang on. I don't know if this will work. There. That's my drum roll.
That was just sad. All right, I'll do one. That's not a drum roll.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Anyway, anywho, it's not really a secret that not everybody goes and knows what I'm up to on social media. However, the big news is I have got a contract overseas, and it's almost a month to the day that I'll be getting on a plane and going to Central America to deliver the eye care program with GYST Consulting and my friend, coach and mentor, Mr. Clive Lloyd.
Mr. Clive Lloyd, who I know, I have met on site once.
You have. You've actually been through the workshop, I do believe.
I have been through the workshop, that's right. And we got talking, I'm like, he's Clive, that's my sister's mentor. Mm-hmm. And he's at my mine site delivering a course. And there was another lady doing it as well. And I said, no, I want to go with him. And I met him, before I actually did it, I met him the day before, and I went up to him, and I had to interrupt a little bit because I had to hurry up and get in the troopy to get out and go and get in my truck. You know, time waits for no one sometimes, except for me when I had to say, you're Clive? I said, I'm the only sister. And he looked at me a bit funny because he knows you as Drewie.
Yes.
And then he said, Drewie? I said, yes, I'm there. Hello, we need to talk. I was so excited. And then I just walked off, and then I looked back and he said, oh, yeah, you're Drewie's sister, all right.
We do speak the same a lot and look the same. Apparently, we don't think we do, but we do a little bit. Same mannerisms, I guess, and we'll find out when we hear this back. Yeah.
If anyone can tell which one of us is talking.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can. But so tell us about the program. I obviously know all about it, but you tell us how you describe it, what you'll be doing.
Well, for me, it's about normally, and I'm having more conference calls with Clive very shortly in this coming week, but normally I would be delivering the workshop to the frontline leadership, and he usually takes the big kahunas on board. And I imagine that's how it will be, but I do believe it's going to be, we'll need interpreters this time. So I'm going to rush out and buy a book and try and learn how to speak Spanish in a month, or at least a few words, and continue to do that. So, but the iCare program, and again, you can put the link on there to the website because it will take too long to explain. But in the show notes, I'll say Leanna Brett. So, yes, and on this episode, Beers with Maya, 25, is that correct?
Yes, madmumsy.com/beers25, the number 25.
Yeah, I didn't say it right, did I? Never mind, the show notes will
be
there.
You did.
And you can just link onto it, and you can go straight to GYST Consulting, and you can find out all about the iCare program. But in a nutshell, for me anyway, it's about authentic, values-based leadership. from big kahunas to an individual level to a crew level, safety leadership, and it's all about trust and how care fits in. And there's some people say, well, care factor 0, so they sort of have a bit of a laugh and say, well, why? Perhaps you can help with that. And it's interesting. I'm really not going to give too much away. I'd like people to go and have a look, and you've been through it yourself. But it really is about authentic, values-based leadership, and I'm not really going to say more about that. I'm going to keep it a mystery. But I've seen it work. I've seen it work very, very well. There's a lot of really great tools in there. There's a lot of really good discussion goes on, and people understand how they can step up their own selves, and then how they can also influence their workplace and its culture, and therefore its productivity, its bottom line, and also, of course, its safety.
Exactly. And I participated in the course, they have a few, but the one I participated in was at crew level, the boots on the ground people, and it was really good to see the crew opening up and having a chat, and the things that were being said, and still, even nearly a year must be. Time goes so fast. It's been a long time since, and people, the thoughts, the seeds that are planted to get you to just think in a different way in the workshop, you still hear the crew say it, even on the two-way sometimes. Brilliant. And I think, wow, it's still there. And I have messaged Clive a couple of times and said, I heard him talking about it at the crew part, and he said that's awesome that it's still out there.
It's really good. It's powerful stuff. It's simple yet powerful stuff, and it's psychological tools as well that you can use in your everyday life. And psychology, Clive's a psychologist, so he knows his stuff, and when you aim it in the right manner, again, it's about people, and that's universal. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO or the cleaner. You still have a mind, and you still behave in a manner, and it still functions. And it's evidence-based and fully researched. It's not making it up. It's a proven fact how our mind operates. It's a lot more complex than that, but at least it's a bit of self-awareness goes a hell of a long way. And when you put that in a practical sense in the workplace, and how it can help in all sorts of manners, it's truly amazing. I've seen it, and that's why one of my catch cries for Hard Hat Mentor is only use your power for good, and that is because there's so much power in this stuff. But be a light witch, don't be another one. Once you get that power of your own, control your own self, and then you start influencing others, it's incredible the difference you can make in your own sphere of influence. As long as you make sure it's a positive influence there, don't be using it for the wrong reasons.
No, that's right. And I saw when I went through the course that it was fun and interactive, and doing things that way, I don't want to say makes, but it helps things sink in to all different sorts of people. And I could so imagine you at the front doing it.
Well, Clive's very Clive-ish. Clive, he's a lovely man, and he's professional, and he's funny. And I find I never listen more intently than when I'm in a room with Clive, because he commands attention because he speaks very calmly, and yet you can't take your eyes off him. You really listen. And with me, I'm all over the shop. You can imagine all around the room, and my tone is up and down, and because I carry on like a pork chop, but at the same time, that's me being authentically me. That's how I deliver.
That's right. And the other lady that was with Clive in the room next to us, because if there's 100 people on a crew, it takes a while to put everyone through. So she was like that by the sound of it. I didn't meet her. I had the pleasure of having dinner with Clive and Vanessa. Vanessa, that's right.
Lovely.
And we had dinner at the mess at the round table, I believe, which is the romantic table. And so we had a great chat, but awesome feedback from people who had done the presentation with both of the different presenters.
Yep.
coaches, what's the word? Starts with an F.
Facilitators.
Facilitator. There we go. Look, could you hear me thinking? Oh, facilitator. That was it. But the biggest thing that I got from it was that everyone was saying that's how all presentations should be.
Yes.
Not as you have written about extensively.
Yes.
I remember death by PowerPoint.
Yes, I have.
And we have a lot of them,
yes.
and it was so refreshing. And to have such a refreshing change of a presentation that meant so much to so many people on so many levels. There was one guy who told me he went straight over to Vanessa after and wanted her email address because he wanted all the soccer coaches in his club to take that course because that could help all the kids that were coming through.
Absolutely.
And I thought, wow. And they didn't know I knew anything, and I'd say at the Crib Hut, kind of a little bit of secret squirrel, I guess, but I was just saying, oh, have you done the course, or what did you think?
Yes.
And everything was fantastic. So to hear that you are jumping on a plane with Clive and going to present this over in Central America.
Yes. It's very exciting. How excitement. Drewie's going to have to see. I'm going to have to dial it back. Well, see, I've done this.
Because they won't understand you. What are you going to do?
Well, that's the thing. So I'm going to have to, and I'll speak to Clive about this, because I've been with interpreters only once before with Chinese, and I can't be Drewie because there's too many words. So, I'll still be me, and I'll have to perhaps keep it more plain and simple, straight to the point.
Body language.
Now, just quickly, I've got to share this with you. I was presenting something, and I told a joke, and the interpreter said it, and the whole room laughed. And then later on, because one of the guys in the room, he spoke both languages, and he came up to me, and I said, oh, they got the joke then. She said, you know what the interpreter said? I said, no, what did the interpreter say? He said, she told a joke, make sure you laugh now. And I said, no, I'm kidding. And that's the point. How do you know?
My God.
Lost in translation, how do you know what they're saying? So, you've got to trust them, quite obviously. But you do not want it. There's a danger, perhaps, because the meaning of, the way we may say it literally in English, the meaning of that when translated, it may not have the same impact. So no doubt Clive's onto it, and he's already, worked and turned it around to whatever needs to be done. But luckily I'll have a couple of days before I have to start to deliver and watch him do his thing with the leadership. So when we get there, so that'll be really, really good for me to see
that'll help.
how he goes through it. And it's very similar because Clive, he took us through his safety leadership, his program when I was with Chevron, and he taught us how to deliver it. And it's the same sort of stuff, and because the concepts are the concepts, and it was brilliant. And I said to him that day, that first workshop, the very first day I met him, I shook his hand, and in the very first break, so I'd been in the room about 3 hours, I'd known the man for 3 hours, and I walked up to him and I said, I'm going to work for you one day. I am going to work for you. And he probably thought he was just a little upstart, And I reminded him of that yesterday. He said, yes, you did. And here you are.
And here you are.
He said, you did stand out. That was hilarious.
And so you're going to be on a plane with him for quite a while?
Yes. Don't have the details yet. Again, that should come this week. But, I imagine probably a long time.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because you can have a chat to him about me. Well, he knows me now, obviously, but about the Beers with a Minor podcast, and talk him into coming on and talking to us about the eye care program and what it was like going to Central America with Drewie.
Yes. Well, we see, and I want to have a chat with him about what we are, and I'm not allowed to document and photo and things because I want to document as much as I can as well. But that's all permission's required. But I've got no doubt he would do that with you, Dan. No doubt at all, Mad Mumsy. Let's stop. 3 names out there.
We've got a few
and
now.
I won't have to have him trapped on a plane. He'll probably just say yes, no problem. Anyway, but all right, we'll do that. But it would be good to follow this journey because, as you know, it's not just a paddle through a workshop ticky-flicky, Bobby. We're going back, and there's going to be follow-up coaching and all the rest of it, so she's not a one-time thing. How excitement. So that's why I want to learn Spanish, Espanol.
Yes.
So,
well, if you have a quick look into Tim Ferriss,
yes.
He wrote the book 4 Hour Workweek, and he's very, trying to explain it properly, he's studied many different ways of how people learn.
Mm-hmm.
And he has lots of hacks, like this guy on the telly with his body hacks, and he's off trying to see if he can join in with the army and do all those things.
Yeah, I love those.
Tim Ferriss does that. Can I learn how to play the violin good enough to be in an orchestra in a month?
Yes.
Or
yes.
I don't even know if he's done that.
Yeah.
But
Things like
you know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen the show. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so I know he's done that for language, and if you can look into that, you probably would get some good tips from that, I reckon.
For sure. Well, I studied Indonesian at school. I was an A student, and all I can remember now is how to count to 10, satu, dua, tiga, empat, lima, enam, tujuh, delapan, sembilan, 10, and how to say something that I won't say because it's very bad and unpolitically correct. However, an A student can count to 10 and then that's it, nothing. That's selamat, something. Because if you don't use it, you lose it, like your minds, like your muscles, like everything. However, I do know that I would like to, and I will look into what you suggested, but I would like to get something, of course, that I read, but I hear, and then I say it back and I hear. So to get the pronunciation right, and there's plenty of books out there, but that's no good for me. I need to hear it and be able to say it back, and then you hear yourself back, and there's all those options. So, yes, I'll be on to that. But
that's right. And I'm sure that he's looked into the best ways to do that as well, to make it stick.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to follow your journey and find out how it all goes and what's next. And with the Women in Boots series, will be great, and they will be on your website as well once we get that going in our spare time.
Yes, in spare time, and there'll be audio of all my posts when I get that sorted because my technology is not playing at the moment. And, of course, I have another challenge that's been thrown at me by the wonderful Andrew Barrett, who does a podcast, Safety on Tap, by Andrew Barrett, and it's brilliant. And I've told him all about you. And
really?
Yes. And one of his challenges is about doing videos, like on videos as well. So, because I have a YouTube channel and I put 0 on it because I just set it up and then, that was that. So,
As we do. You've got to claim your name in all the spaces.
That's right. So, yes, I think I've only got another week to have something on there. So, oopsie. But, yeah, there's lots of exciting things. And I've been doing some book reviews for people too. People have been sending me books, which is really nice. Not official book reviews, but just having a read and having a bit of a chat about them. So they've been really good. I might talk to you more about those another time. But I'm really enjoying that. And in the social and emotional well-being space is a big space I'm in because of the Women in Boots and the trying to support remote workers. That's not going to go away because I've always had the marriage with GYST Consulting and the eye care program, and that's always been a given that I will always go and continue to do that because the eye care program supports that anyway. What you learn through that supports your social and emotional well-being, so it marries very, very well. But my new direction is out of traditional safety into the eye care and the mentoring for FIFO workers and leaders on site. The downturn's just a bit of a help while we're downturned. We might just call it a party when things improve. Might just walk up for a drink and don't call it anything else. And then the other, the Women in Boots, I've actually got quite a few. I call them Women in Boots, and they don't have to be literally Women in Boots. If we have a moment, I'll just tell you a quick little story. I've been putting some shares on social media and things and getting some comments back, and I found one. She's called Tough Mother, and she's doing wonderful things. I must remind me to send you that link. She's doing really, really well, and she's a mother, but she's pretty famous. And for me, she's a woman in boots. And then other women in boots are more, I'll find if I see someone who's done something, for me, that's ballsy for a chick or is really good for a woman. For me, they're a woman in boots. You don't have to be a woman in boots working in a mine or doing FIFO, in my head, to be a woman in boots, even though that's sort of technically where I'm aiming at, because I put one up about the Tough Mother, And a lady came on and said, well, what classifies for a woman in boots? And I said, well, that's a good question. And I said exactly what I just said to you. Any woman who's just doing her thing really well, it doesn't really matter what she's doing or where. If she's kicking butt, then for me, she's a woman in boots because we rock, right? And she said, she came back and said, so Michelle Obama then? And I went back and said, well, as much as I don't like to comment on political things online, absolutely, she's a woman in boots. Never I've met one, you know. It's an attitude, and it's what you do, and it's what you're trying to achieve, and if you're helping people or if you just do really well, you know. So I guess that'll expand later on. But when I looked up the brand, the Women in Boots, and every time you do anything with it, it's literally about women's boots, you know, the fashion boots. So that's not a good name. Anyway, I'm digressing. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting.
No, but, you know, it's okay to digress because you're sharing your passion, and your passion is to help other people and those of us that are working in the industry and on the fringes of mining, but just life in general, you know, so much. Nearly every episode, I'd go as far as to say every episode of the Beers with the Miner podcast, it ends up just being bloody life lessons. Yes, we talk about dozers and crib-ups and, you know, downturns and mining, but it's still about how do we all get on with each other? How do we live our life now and be happy and enjoy it? And how do we watch out for each other and get through this shit that gets chucked at us?
Well, that's right, because it's life. Work is part of a holistic view of our life. You can't pretend work sits out there on its own. And if anything else is suffering, that's suffering in the same. So, yeah, for sure, I see how that would happen. Speaking of which, there's another little thing I've been playing is because there's been so much, and rightly so, hence we have the likes of Mates in Construction and Are You OK and Beyond Blue, and all these people stepping up and helping, you know, remote workers with their, you know, social and emotional well-being, as there should be. However, I wanted to put a bit more balance back, especially for FIFO, because that's just my thing. That's all I've done. So it's really good that everybody is now aware of the sacrifices you must make and how it can disrupt your life in, you know, all sorts of ways if you're not prepared for it, and all the challenges it presents. And I'm really, really glad that's been spoken about. But it seems now that that's all that's been spoken about. So I'm trying to get the balance back, because there's a lot of great stuff and a lot of reasons and a lot of people who are thriving in FIFO and wouldn't do anything else, and who are finding ways to make it all work, and they love it. And it's like news. You know, you watch the news and it's all, you get hit in the face with all the tragedy, bang, 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 and then for 20 seconds at the end, you get, and you fed the puppy, and then they're gone. And for me, that's a bit like, at the moment, all we keep hearing about is all the how it can screw you up, and it can, and we need to know that. And yes, there's a few good stories out there, but when it's in my little niche, which is FIFO, so I've made a whole series of little things that I'm putting just about in place in no particular manner at the moment, just starting to plant a few seeds. For instance, little posters and FIFO, like the acronym, forming irreplaceable on-site friendships. So that's FIFO, like the acronym.
Yes, and then I like that.
Yeah, and then other posters, so to help them. And, you know, I've got this vision of we can work with charities or companies about getting up around wetnesses and in their rooms or whatever. But things like, there's a picture of my Teddy coming out of a suitcase, half open, and he goes, "Oh, that was a long flight." And the thing says, it says on top, "This is my bit of home I take for my donga, what's yours?" And then another one says, and it's a picture of this nice family and walk on the beach at sunset, you know, and it says, "Take a happy memory with you in your bags and pull it out when you need it." And there's a whole series of them, like amazing. And there's another one of a dog, and he's sitting there, and he's looking all sad. He's got his little head on his paws, and it says, "How lucky are we that we have someone who misses us this much?" And so I'm just trying to put some messages out there that, yes, you're away, but, you know, what can we do to try and make it better? So there's a whole range of things like that I'm working on at the moment as well. It goes with the emotional, social and emotional well-being.
They're awesome. I've seen them, and it's great to see it so visually as well.
Mm.
You know, like you say, there are a lot of people talking about all the bad side of things and how we have to all watch out for each other and this, that, and the other thing. But there are also people like yourself who are trying to find the positives, and that came up again in Kirsty's episodes. That, you know, there are a lot of people that love it and are thriving and surviving, as you say, and they worked through the differences for the family and the what ifs, and you know, and that's her big thing is, okay, now let's sit down, and she's written a book about it, you know, sit down and discuss how are we going to make this work?
Yes.
Not, oh shit, I hope this works and it might all go to crap, because that's what a lot of what you hear about. But there are a lot of people who just love it and wouldn't do anything else in the world.
Well, that's exactly right. I know plenty of them. Yeah, and there is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying the seriousness of the byproducts of the lifestyle. It can be horrific, and it does take a toll, and it really does. And so, but it doesn't mean that you can't find a way to, you know, overcome all of those things. So, and make it work.
And even work, though. That's right. And even if it's just in little bibs and bobs here and there, you know, find the little happy times and take notice of them, because we don't even notice them sometimes.
No, that's right. You know, it's very, very important.
Lighten up, mate. Lighten up.
That's right. What else?
I said that to a lady. I was at my local hotel, the pub, the other night. They had a big event for the Jag the Joker, and it went off, and sadly I didn't win it. But the card that I would have picked, he didn't pick, so I'm kind of happy about that, because I wouldn't have won anyway, because bottom left. No, it wasn't mine. But I was talking to a lady there who'd been going through a few tough times, and we had a big chat over a few beers, as you do, you know, and I said, how about just trying to lighten up? It might help. You know, she goes, what do you mean? I mean, well, it's just always so hard all the time, you know, just take some breaths and just lighten up a bit. And anyway, we were having a laugh, and then we went in to get another drink because we were outside, and I grabbed the door, and it's a big glass door, and I pulled it, and I felt like I reefed it off the hinges. Yes. And she was behind me, and I said, did you see how light that door was? And we were both cracking up laughing, and she gave me a big hug and said, thanks so much, I feel so much better. Yes. And you know, I need that sometimes too, because I'm doing heaps with the podcast and, you know, 20 other things.
That's right.
But sometimes you just have to, we live now. We have to live in the present and just go, this is life. This is happening now.
Yeah, well, for sure. And, you know, some people, when they're going through horrific things, it's never as simple as, you know, just lighten up. And that's not what we mean. It's just, don't feel bad if you crack up laughing over nothing. You know, don't feel guilty. You're allowed to be silly and laugh at yourself. I laugh at myself all the time.
You need to know, we had at least a 1 hour massive in-depth conversation before that.
Yes.
So I wasn't just making light of it at all.
No.
But that's how the conversation ended. Yeah. And, she thanked me a couple of times throughout the night. So
yeah, I think it is well done, and it is important. Sometimes it's a good release, you know, whether it's a cry or a laugh, it is a good release. I know myself some days, well, I always made my mission on site to make sure I'm what do they call me? People say, what do you do? Nothing. I'm just here for morale boosting and good looks. And that would be my standard answer, you know, and some people would just walk away then, because people would think, God, who's that, you know? And they'd say, I don't know, that's just Drewie. But I would always make sure that I'm happy, especially when I'm in a crowd in the morning and getting my crib. Even if I'm not happy, I force myself to be. Like, smile and say good day to everybody, and instantly it changed the grumpiness I was feeling anyway. It went away because I was forcing myself to be. Most of the time I really was feeling that way, but on the days I wasn't feeling that way, because the music was on, I still made sure I did everything. And you could just see that it changed people around you. Some people got angry, but it's not madness. But you could just see, they thought, someone is happy here. You know?
Yeah.
And it could be
maybe I could be too.
Just walk along and give a big smile to someone as you're walking past them in the camp, don't say a word. You know, that's it. And you got no idea the difference that can make to someone's day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you don't
right.
have to intrude on their business. Just say, how's it going there, buddy? How you going, mate? Yeah, good, mate.
How you going, mate? I wonder how that's going to go for you over in Central America.
Yes. I don't know what they say. I have to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to hear all about it in our next instalment.
Yes, for sure. Yes, I'm keep a little bit of trepidation, but mostly excitement. And I'm very, very excited to be working with Clive, and of course, and to be going international again is outstanding. But this is really, to me, because Canada was a bit of a cheat, I think, because it was way too similar. Although it was way different, at least they spoke English, and but this will be a different country again. So it's very exciting.
Canada gave you a good taste of what it's like to go overseas, while still being in a little bit of comfort zone. Like, say, at least they spoke your language.
Sort of.
That's where I want to go first. There, or England, maybe.
Oh, for sure. And just for getting through customs and just international airports and just the whole thing, to do it in the place where they speak English first, it's not such a culture shock, even though it's still freaky. So I'm really glad the universe has allowed me to do that first, and now I can. And this time I'm going with Clive, and possibly sometime in the future I may be going on my own. But at least the first time he can look after me. Where are we going now?
He better.
Yes, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, he will, and you're going to have a blast, and I can't wait to get you back on for our third instalment and to hear all about it, and also to catch up with Clive from GYST. And I'll just mention for anyone who wants to just have a look for that website, is the letter GYST Consulting.com.
Yeah,
.au maybe, I'm not sure.
Got the gist of it? Yes.
You get the gist, but just the letters, that's all.
And we should probably send Clive a little note, but we've said his name 1,000 times. He might want to listen to this one.
He might want to approve first.
He might want to approve first. No, it's all good. We didn't say this is bad.
No, he loves us.
I hope so.
We'll be right.
We think he does.
If he didn't, hello, Clive. Look
Clive.
after my sister.
He will.
All right, we might end on that note.
Yes.
And do you think, is there anything else that you wanted to share, or are you happy with that?
Oh, plenty. We got through quite a bit. Thank you so much. And before we go, I just want to say, bragging rights, you getting such media attention. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Go ABC and all your interviews and everything that's going on. Keep it up, mate. You're doing well. About time too.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I have been well out of my comfort zone. And
that's just the start. It's going to get bigger and better, mate. So be prepared. Be prepared. Speaking of ABC, but well done, you. Very, very proud. Bragging rights. Keep it up. That Man Up series. Wanted to give a big plug for Man Up, it's called. On the ABC. Brilliant. And Mates and Construction were on there the other day, so that was really good. But very good show when it comes to, guys and how they're trying to look out for each other. So it's a good show. Yeah,
and that always goes a long way, especially in our industries that we work with so much and speak to now. Okay, thanks, Blister.
Thank you, Blister. Thanks so much for your time, and you keep up your great work. We all love you, and I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of you. Oh, we rock. We are rocking
women in
downturn.
Okay. Love you, Blister.
All the links we discussed in this episode are at madmumsy.com/beers25. That's madmumsy with a Z or a Z, depending where you're from, and the number 25. And it's Mumsy, MUMZIE, in case you weren't too sure. Be sure to search for Beers with a Minor in your favourite podcast app and subscribe so you don't miss a thing, or just head to madmumsy.com/beers where you can subscribe right there. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, stay safe, be real, be special, and have fun, for we only live once and we only have one dog wanting to play once. Oh, cheers.